But perhaps we can just go straight into the workshops. On my left is Brian Fisher, who you all know, who was involved with the workshop on what can we do to start trying to bring services back into public control. And we're just going to each read out a few key bullet points from every workshop. Thank you. Brian.
So, first of all, we decided to change the name. It's not about public control, it's about public ownership. And we came up with a number of very concrete suggestions. The first is that we need to understand much more about what's happening in the corporate sector. So what is the business model? Where is the money going? We need data on corporate profits. We need data on profits that are happening locally as well. So that's the first thing. And there we had a number of people in the room who have access to data on this. So that should be something we can begin to talk about. And also it may be of real political value in the sense that if people do understand that there is a 13% return on investment in this arena, then they're more likely to be angry and disbelieving about this than they currently are. Secondly, there may be we need to go with a set of principles to change policy, particularly Labour Party policy. And I think people were taken with the concept of universal provision and local control, and that we should take that to, we should batter down the doors of Barbara Keeley. We should use the motion that's already available across the country. We should also go to the TUC, who seem to be somehow very silent on this area. Thirdly, there are concrete examples of things happening already. Hammersmith currently does offer free personal care. Scotland, who we were not able to hear from, has also got experience about free personal care, although it is running into problems, but we need to understand what's happening. And there are quite a few other examples of rather innovative social care and social support provision. So that's the third aspect that we want to look at. The fourth is the point that was made earlier, in the same way as that there's been a reinstatement bill, it's probably worth beginning to pursue a social care / support bill, which might or might not be linked with the current reinstatement bill. And finally, it seems clear that most people, there is evidence that most people in the population have no idea that social care is not universal and not free at the point of use. So one of the simple things that we could be emphasizing to people is that fact. So it's partly a matter of us gaining information, distributing information, and also beginning to batter down the doors of the policymakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. I'm just going to give some feedback from our excellent workshop on building a campaign, and lots of people spoke, which was really good. I suppose it boils down to a few areas. One is we need to expose what's happening, the neglect, the indignity, and I think I was saying the downright cruelty sometimes in social care. We need facts, we need stories, we need to get them out both through leaflets, stores, radio, TV, meetings. We need to look at how to target the young, a lot of us are getting on a bit, as well as the politicians, someone mentioned also social work students. We need to win the argument over finances, and there was a lot of talk about how in the NHS campaign and in KONP we talk about the multiplier quite a lot, the 4 times multiplier, that putting money into these endeavours creates jobs, creates wealth, creates value, and we need to win that argument, and there is quite a bit of information out there. And then, crucially, I think we also need to look at why. Why are we going in this direction? And we need to talk about privatisation and how much that's costing. We need to talk about underfunding, and we need to talk about, and not be frightened of talking about the values underpinning it, and neoliberalism, and that we are fighting for a society where we care for the vulnerable and care for each other, and not for Margaret Thatcher's version where we're all for what we can get, and that we need to have a return. I think someone mentioned the word communitarian values. That we need to get clear our demands, preferably not loads of them, and that we need to work with other organisations on those, but not in a way that drives us into the ground arguing over tuppence and threepence. You know, we need some simple, clear demands. We can't wait till we get the perfect 20-point charter. Let's have a few things to unite around that we can agree with other organisations and with the trade unions. And let's learn from other places. People were impressed by Simon's piece on Australia. So there are other places we can learn to. And let's make those demands relate to young people. Let's include care workers and all the demands around there we've heard from today, and unpaid carers and the demands around there. And finally, let's bring people together with some kind of small hooks of unity we can find in action. And one possibility is there is the National Dignity Day in February next year. It's early on in February, and I know the National Pensioners Convention have used that quite often and done some quite funny stunts with people dressed in a skeleton outfits, sitting outside in chairs saying this is what we're reduced to. So maybe that is February might be the kind of time we're ready to at least try and do something more collectively to up the profile, because our workshop was really about how can we raise the profile across the board and with organisations, other organisations. I think that was the most of it. Thank you. So, over to you. Anne Bannister on the carers workshop.
Okay, yes, my workshop was about how do we get the carers' voice heard. And I think from our workshop we had a wealth of experience and organisations representing carers. And if we're talking about a new care system where people have dignity and respect, then we need dignity and respect for the care workers as well. That we need to base that around the plethora of charters we've got, like the Unison Ethical Care Charter and the Dignity Charter for National Pensioners Convention. These things need to be brought together, and also there's local action groups around carers. There's a National Union of Care Workers, the National Pensioners Convention, all working on this subject, and it's really bringing that together. Some of the other things we talked about was the need for an independent regulator. That the Care Quality Commission is not independent, and if we're talking about the implementation of those charters, then there needs to be an independent regulator. And then also taking up the demand from the National Pensioners Convention of a commissioner for elderly people that has legal powers. But we also thought that because there was so much wealth, that really people wealth of knowledge, that people should submit their own ideas to health campaigns together of their vision of what a new social care system should be, and that really health campaigns together is an umbrella organisation, and really that they can pull things together.
Thank you, Anne. Kirsty. Is it Kirsty? Oh, no, Angela. Thank you, Anne. And now, last but not at all, this is Angela from the Visioning the Future, from the point of view particularly of people using the services. Thank you.
Okay, so there's really lively discussion, lots of different points of view were made, and lots of people coming from different perspectives. So I hope the organisers read all our notes. There's some really important points there, but we'll just kind of talk about the top 4 or 5 points that stood out. There was a feeling that profit-making and empire building needed to be taken out of the process entirely. Change needs to come from the grassroots. You can't depend on councils deciding what's required, whatever right left they come from. you need to demand what your need is. Cohesion, it was felt, was required both across the country and between different needs and user groups in order to influence change. It was felt that providers, it was said CCGs, but that's not a given, it could be another type of provider, need to give social care users a place in the decision-making process, not just tokenistic, but user-led. And to this end, we felt that a new government body needed to be set up, made up of those who use social care, the various types of social needs, to build a model for providing care. And that's basically it. Short and simple.
Thank you, Angela.